Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Ultimatum RHAPup. I'm Mary Kwiatkowski, and I'm here this week to talk about the second season of the Ultimatum Marry or Move On. This is drop number 2, technically part of drop 1, but we're breaking it up. So episodes 5 through 8, and I am joined, as always, by my wonderful co-host from the Love is Blind RHAPup, Married at First Sight, and so many other podcasts, Aysha Welch. Aysha, did you think that it picked up at all in this second drop?
It did, and I did not expect it to pick up with who it picked up with,
Yep.
But also, Mary, I want you to know, I will not be calling your parents a liar this podcast.
You better not.
You don't have to worry. There will be no calling out of parents on this podcast. Will not stand for
frail
it.
daddy and frail mommy did absolutely nothing to you, so don't call them out. But we are not by ourselves for this episode. If you're watching on YouTube, there might already be a slight spoiler, but we are joined by another great guest. Aysha's cheating on me once again with her Married at First Sight co-star. Here's Jason Reed. Jason.
Aysha! Sorry. I ran all the way here from.
You ran all the way.
Yeah, I ran from the Perfect Match podcast. Aysha, I heard Mary talking, and she said that you don't respect me as a podcast co-host. She said that I am your whipping boy on a Perfect Match. Please tell me that's not true. What did you say about
Did I ever use the phrase whipping boy? I don't think so.
Listen, this was a safe space, Mary, and all I said I just talked about his flaws. That's it. I never said I didn't respect him.
Well, Mary's a liar.
That, you're basically admitting that you said that you didn't respect him.
Well, Mary's a liar then. Mary said this. That's what you said verbatim. She is a liar. She's an S-bag. She sucks. She's terrible.
How dare you?
No,
I wish you had someone in the background there, Mary, to go, she's not an S-bag. Don't call her an S-bag.
Yeah. Where's your brother from the other room?
Through the door. I know. Oh my gosh. Jason, thank you for joining us. I know that we love to have you on these shows. Of course, on the Love is First Sight feed, in addition to Married at First Sight, we also cover Love is Blind and that one season of The Perfect Match. So you can check that out on the Love at First Sight feed on Robin's podcast. And you can also check us out on Robin's podcast YouTube channel at RHAP as well. So if you want to watch that whole scene that Jason just reenacted, make sure you check that out. Jason, how's it been going so far this season for you?
The Ultimatum is very it's hard. You mentioned we watched Perfect Match with Kirsten McInnes. We covered that show. It's hard to get more convoluted than that show was, because sometimes I felt like you had to have a math degree to figure out how many matches are going to be at night. But this is even more convoluted than that. The premise in and of itself is utterly ridiculous. And I think this season, most of all, pointed out how ridiculous it can be, just because the trial marriages really, at the end of the day, meant nothing, because none of them even took it seriously at all. It's we're going to give you 2 trial marriages. The first trial marriage with a stranger that you know nothing about. You're going to basically act like roommates and pretend like you're in a real relationship. And then for the second trial marriage, you're going to live with the person that you were more than likely living with before you got here, for most of you. But we're going to call it a trial marriage. So, for what it is, I enjoy it. I can definitely see why Netflix released this under the cover of night and told no one that they're releasing this season of the Ultimatum. I can definitely see why they did that, but
they're like,
it is what it is.
Shh, we released the Ultimatum.
They're releasing at 5:02 a.m. one morning. It's we'll just slip this in. We'll release 8 of the 10 episodes at once. That's how much we don't care about this. Yeah,
because Jason, one of these days, one of these couples is going to find love in their first trial marriage in the swap group.
No way. I don't believe you. when the couple that have the most hope in these first trial marriages are Ryan and Trey, who Trey at every turn is I'm really catching feelings for you. And Ryan's oh, really?
You're so nice.
That's interesting. So how
I
are
feel
you
like we have a
feeling?
lot in common.
Yeah, like everyone asked Ryan how she feel about Trey. I almost expect her to be like, well, bless his heart. He's just such a nice guy, and he's gonna make someone a great husband one day. Not me, but someone. Probably not Raya, but somebody. Just when that's the couple we're pinning all of our hopes on, you've
It's
gotten a
the
dud
only
season
one.
of a
It's
television
the
show.
only one that has any hope.
Yeah,
You got a dud there. Okay, if we think about we don't know the outcome of these couples yet, right? So if we think about the first Marry, Move On, and then Queer Love, none of the first trial marriages are together, right?
No. Yeah, that didn't happen. We got close on Queer Love. We got close.
Right, very close.
I think our biggest hope was, man, the first episode of the, I don't know, regular Ultimatum, because they're for some reason, switching them up and they're
Don't you
different
mean
iterations.
Ultimatum Momo?
Yeah, Ultimatum Momo. Marry, Move On. In the first season, who was it?
Ray and Jake.
Yeah, they were like our great hope, and then we get to the reunion, like, no, nothing ever happened. After they give them tickets to go anywhere around the world you want, like, no, we never use those tickets. They're just
right.
Day after we were just no. So, but this drop I thought was a lot better than the first drop. I did not forget anyone in this drop when they came on the screen. I was like, wait a minute, who is that? I was able to, Kat squeaked in for me. I was like, I remember Kat now. And after like episodes like 7, I was like, that's Kat. I wasn't going, who was that? Every time she came on the screen.
Alex made a name for himself in this batch of episodes. So
Mary, how
definitely
do you feel
didn't
about
forget him.
How do you feel about Alex looking like that guy from Riverdale? Like, is he Archie, that guy?
No. I mean, Alex is worse than any character I've seen on the fictionalized show Riverdale.
Well, he looks like that guy, right? Like, I don't even watch that show, but I was like, that looks like that guy from Riverdale.
That's a stretch.
That is a stretch. I could see it here, like the eyebrow, the intensity of the eyes.
I thought with the hair.
Yeah, it's
Archie has red hair.
I mean, close enough, right? Like,
close enough.
Edit that
the red hair erasure. Yeah, I don't know. Like, Alex was nothing to us in the first drop. Barely talked about Alex. The most conversation we had was when we went and talked to his parents, and we're like, oh, it doesn't seem like his parents like Kat that much. And they were trying to feed us something in that first batch of like, ooh, maybe Roxanne and Alex, she challenges him. They're so similar. And then this one, they're like, plot twist, we've been lying to you the whole time. They hate each other.
Plot twist in the middle of a conversation, right? Yeah. Like in this one conversation, you twist from like, Alex is so great to live with. Like, Alex kind of really sucks, doesn't he? He's really terrible. It's like, oh, you really switch that up very fast.
Yeah. So let's get into it. Let's go ahead and finish up the first trial marriages here. And during this first trial marriage chunk in the episodes, they're also going to go on like the girls' night out, guys' night out. So we're going to sprinkle that in, talk about that in the couples themselves, since most of the drama comes in the fallout of those conversations. Overall, though, I got to say, it is very nice and refreshing to have 4 couples that we have to follow. It is all quick bites. And we don't have to write down like, what did James say about this person? It's like, no, the couples all switched 1 for 1. It was 2 pairs that swapped. So we really only have like a couple people talking about each other. It's very digestible.
I totally agree. I was like, this was very easy to follow from a note-taking perspective, but I also think that contributed to the quick drop, the short episodes, like the way that it was pushed out, that it was just like, oh, well, we're sorry, y'all. We thought this season was gonna be fireworks, but here.
Can you imagine the alternate like universe where Brian and Lisa stayed in the experiment, like how that would switch things up and maybe would have brought some more entertainment? Because it seems like Lisa and Brian took most of the drama out the door with them when they left.
We should write fan fiction. So we imagine a world, Brian and Raya together. Yeah. Raya catches feelings because Brian, he's giving her all the physical affection she wants.
You know, so he would.
She's so happy. She's like, I never, ever get this. So
meanwhile, Trey is holding Lisa's hair back due to the morning sickness every day.
Oh my gosh. No, imagine that is not a part of the story.
I mean, listen, Brian wanted to keep going.
Up fan fiction.
Aysha's erased the baby off the planet.
She's just totally gone away with it.
Imagine, okay, has Brant Steele come up with ultimatum formatting yet? Because we need that.
Right. We have
Plug in
enough
this
people to work
cast.
with too. Yeah.
You could just imagine hitting the randomizer and it says, oh, Lisa discovers that she's pregnant. How has this changed the game?
Right. Does she leave? Does she
Does she
stay?
stay? All right. Well, let's jump in here and let's talk about Ryan and Trey, who, not gonna lie, I have the least on them because they're just happy. They mention multiple times how they don't have any fights, don't have any arguments. The biggest drama here is that Trey has caught some feelings for Ryan, and she is, oh, Trey, you're so nice.
Some unreciprocated feelings.
Yeah,
so
which
sweet.
I think from the vibe of it, it's like it seems like he knows that, but
I don't think he knows it. Yeah,
I think he thinks he's got a
he
chance.
says it.
How many times can you say it and not get anything back and think that it's still a thing?
Listen, he's still like by the last night of the trial marriage, he's still like, so you think we could like talk?
Yeah, can we hang out after? She's like, wait, what do you mean can we hang out? That's what she probably was thinking. She's like, we'll just see how it plays out.
Which I like that response because I think what it means is, well, if I'm going to be engaged to James, no, we're not going to see each other, which is a good boundary to have.
Right.
And but if me and James break up, then like, yeah, we could probably be friends.
We can text.
We can text. Yeah.
I'll be your wing woman.
Yep. So we're gonna meet Ryan's brother Reed and his girlfriend Caroline, and I gotta say, out of the pair here, Caroline's the highlight. Caroline talks more than anyone else in this group, which I loved. She's like, I don't know how close Caroline has been to Ryan in the past, because she's like, I've never seen you like this. You're so open. This is so great. I feel like James has never prioritized you. Okay, I think I mentioned this last time, but like, y'all, I get that you've been dating for 7 years. But unless you're actually saying that James should have proposed when you were 18 years old, it's not like they keep saying you've been dating for 7 years. It's insulting that he hasn't proposed yet. That's not how time works when you're that young, though. Like, maybe just everyone in her friends and family, like maybe in that area, people get engaged when they're like,
listen,
20. I don't know.
Where is it? So I went to UT Austin, but at Texas A&M they had, or is it Baylor? It's one of the two that have a saying, ring by spring. So there's like any long-term relationship you're in, you get a ring by spring, your senior year, you're getting married shortly after. I know a few people I started work with who we all had just graduated, they were getting married. So it happens. And I think especially like, I guess, do people consider like that area the South? Like, I don't know, Charlotte?
Maybe. Yeah, they do. But like, it's, I guess what I'm saying is like, again, I think it's completely fine to get engaged young, but I don't think that you can, it's not the same as if 7 years is not the same as if you started dating when you were 22 and you're now 29 and you've been dating for 7 years and there's, or move that number of years later. It's like, you can't use that as some sort of main reason why they haven't gotten engaged yet. But I don't know. Maybe they've been talking about it since they were 16.
I also just question, like, what is James doing to Ryan when they're like with who is this, Ryan's brother and his girlfriend? Like, she's like, oh my gosh, you are so just open and you are just, you're a different person. Like, she's just talking. She's not doing anything crazy. Like, she's just talking normally.
I guess she's just silent.
Yeah, she doesn't talk when he's around James.
There's literally a visible difference. We talked about on the last one that like, I felt like she was just I mean, I don't know her that well, obviously, but it felt like she was like a shell of herself with James. And then all of a sudden she has all of this personality that she felt free to express with Trey. And so when her brother and his girlfriend were pointing this out, I was like, yes, that's what I saw too.
But what's weird is like James is so soft-spoken and quiet. So like, are they just quiet together?
It's not like he's domineering. He's just like,
it's not like she's with Alex. Like,
maybe she feeds off the energy of whoever she she matches energies.
Maybe.
But it's just like, okay, I didn't feel like she was even that more bubbly. It was like, all right, she's just kind of talking, like, y'all going way overboard. It was just like, and again, like, I think, what was it? The girlfriend asked us, like, so could this be a thing? And Ryan's like, he's so nice and he's so sweet. He's gonna make someone a real good husband. Like, okay, I just throughout there's a theme to this whole drop of Ryan trying to nicely just kind of not say yes or no, just put it off till later.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
She does a lot of the like, we have so many similarities. Like we want the same thing with our kids and our family.
You're the
We're the
boy
same
version of me.
person.
Yeah. Yeah. Which I feel like saying like someone is the male version of you or whatever is like, oh, we're such good friends.
Right.
It's a little different. But so when
Yeah, it's like, oh, that's my bestie.
yeah. So when they have the girls' night out, Ryan talk for a little while. There's not a whole lot here. Ryan says that she never told. Most of the conversation has to do with Ryan and James. So there's not that much. She says that Trey's fulfilling, like he's being invested in the whole experience. Raya does ask Ryan if she's going to run off with Trey, and she's like, I literally, he's a really nice guy and he'll make a good husband someday, and he clearly loves you. First off, not an answer to the question, but good dodge, I guess.
I feel like she doesn't want to say like, no, Trey. I would not marry Trey. Like, I don't want to marry Trey. Trey is very nice, but I would not marry him. I'm wondering like what Trey sees in there. Like, it seems almost like Trey is like, I caught feelings because she's nice to me, and no one's ever nice to me. Like, it's so weird.
Like, I guess I can see how it seems like from watching Trey and Raya that there's a lot of it's not easy. They're not necessarily on the same page about things. So just Trey spending time with someone who wants the same things that he does and has a lot of the same values. He's like, oh shoot, well, this is what I want in a relationship. And this would be so easy. Part of why it's so easy is because she's not actually considering it. So you're not actually having real conversations about the two of you. You're just talking hypothetical about things you want.
Right. Yeah. That's the whole thing about these trial marriages. You can't take any of this seriously because no one's really seen this as a marriage. They're roommates for 3 weeks. And as long as one doesn't piss off the other by like not wiping the pee off the toilet seat, they don't really have anything to talk about. There's like, you're cool. Like,
yeah, this is so easy. This is so stress-free.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because you're not
invested
to each other.
There's no investment in this at all.
But it's interesting because we see people every season who get upset in the trial marriage of like, you're not taking this seriously. You're not acting like, a good husband or wife or whatever. And I think like the best way to handle the trial marriage, if you're not actually interested in the person you're with, is to use it as a time to reflect on the things that you're looking for and the things that maybe your spouse is looking for in you and practice those things. I think Kat and Antonio really embrace that. Roxanne, to some extent, like she expects Alex to do the things that she wants, but he's kind of like, well, I don't need to do those things because I don't want to do those things.
But I don't think the show does a good job of illustrating that at all. Like, I don't know what these people were doing in these 3 weeks. I know what they say they were doing, but I don't see any of it on the page. Like,
I mean, we blinked and it was the last night of the trial marriage.
Like, I don't know I don't know if it's because Asia and I cover a show where they go on the nooks and crannies. We get every week progress reports for these people, but for just to skip whole chunks of time.
Yeah.
This would be like, especially when y'all talked about it in the last drop, where we didn't see any content from the first week of the trial marriages. This is like, all right, we'll get back to y'all in week 2. Just have fun week 1. We back with the cameras later. Like, you guys just have a good time. I don't know. Like, did nothing at all happen? Did we lose the footage? What is it?
I think it was literally they had nothing entertaining to show. Nothing that was worth like game changing to the trial marriage or the original relationships that was worth showing. So it was like we got to speed through these first trial marriages through what, like 2 episodes?
Yeah, I mean the second trial marriages too would skip a lot of time.
Oh, yeah.
I think we skipped the whole week too. I think.
Yeah.
So it's just like maybe do you think it's the casting that is the problem? Like what is going on? Because I feel like if they cast this late, they casted the queer season, we could have got some fireworks. But a lot of these people seem like kind of duds to me in a way.
I think it's probably very difficult to cast this show because you're having to find real relationships that are willing to do this.
Mm-hmm.
if they were finding singles that were willing to, hey, you're ready for marriage? Okay, we'll put you in a trial marriage. The pool would be huge, but you're having to find people that have 2+ years of dating experience, or like they have been in a relationship for that long and willing to do this, willing to see their partner with someone else. I can't imagine that it's just like thousands of people.
Also, they say at the beginning, like, there are multiple other people here that you're compatible with. So have they done some sort of like aptitude test to see like who you're compatible? Like, I doubt it. I think they just say that because I don't
They're
think
like,
that you would be able to find enough people who also are compatible.
Yeah, I mean, that would take, that would be pure science, because if they were able, like, it's not like they have a couple and they're like, oh, this couple by themselves, they would be really entertaining, but they didn't match compatibility with the other 4 couples that we have, so they're scratched. But or go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I think this season really, it sapped the drama and energy out of this when none of the trial marriages wanted to, there were 0 kisses or hugs in these trial marriages.
No hand holding.
None whatsoever in any of the trial marriages, it seems. Because it was just like there's no real stakes, no real drama, because no one besides Trey caught feelings for anyone else.
Did I make this up, or didn't they tease in the promo that Alex and Roxanne slept together?
I don't
Didn't they like
that.
hint at that in the? I was like, and then before I knew it, we were at the decisions. I was like, what? Maybe I misread it in the promo, but I felt like they said one of the couples like went there, but clearly not.
No.
I don't remember.
I don't remember any promos for this season being anywhere. They just, like I said, they just go, like, here you go. Just go put it on Netflix and see if y'all even notice it's on Netflix. So you might not even notice.
Maybe that was my fan fiction.
Like, is this Ultimatum Canada? Is this Ultimatum Italy? Oh no, this is American Ultimatum. When they bring this out?
I will say from the night out, I will say that Ryan and Raya, their conversation, I felt like Raya didn't care enough, which I don't know if it's just fueled by me already thinking that Raya is over this relationship with Trey, but I just felt like she wasn't pressing Ryan enough based on what Ryan was sharing.
I think Raya was focused on her not getting what she wanted out of James. I think that was her main focus that night out, and telling Ryan, like, he ain't doing nothing with me. Not even a hug. Can't get a hug. Not even not in anything.
So the night out thing is so interesting because, like, there are 2 topics that always come up. Topic 1, talking about how somebody's significant other is negative, right? So, like, how many scenarios do you get where you get to tell, like, a friend, essentially, I've had an experience with your significant other, and now I can give you feedback both on yourself and on my experience with them. Like, that's such an interesting thing. And so sometimes you get, like, weird moments when you have someone complimenting your significant other in ways that about things that you're mad about, or telling you, like, hey, just so you know, here's a flaw in your relationship.
Yeah.
Or like, here's a flaw with your significant other. And so you can feel defensive. Like, I find that to be like probably the most fascinating part, is to like get this real-time feedback from another person. Because, like, how many times have you ever complained about your significant other to a friend, and then imagine your friend got to go, like, spend time with your significant other without you and see their perspective on it? I think that's very interesting.
That's why I never complain. That's why I never complain, because I don't know what snitches are amongst me. You know what I mean? So I keep my issues to myself.
There you go. So
don't trust anyone. Don't trust no one.
Yeah, that's the way to live life.
Let's move on to Raya and James. During the night out between the 2 of them, really the biggest tension comes up, which is that Raya feels like James has not been full in the experience with her. She's not getting the full opportunity here, which in a lot of ways it seems like is basically a physical connection of any kind. The thing that I find the most interesting here is the fact that most seasons of these types of shows, you have everyone getting upset if, like, their ex, is hooking up with someone or kissing someone or whatever. But in this season, it seems like everyone's like, yeah, James was wrong to do that. James should have been more invested. Raya, it sucks that you didn't get that experience. And yet, Raya is going to be the one who's upset that her significant other in Trey had a crush on Ryan. Like it's very interesting, but like,
yeah, she's like, you were supposed to hold hands, but not catch feelings.
Yeah. But everyone is against James for not being fully in this experience and giving Raya what she needs here. And then later on, everyone's going to basically tell Antonio that he was weird for not sleeping in the same bed with Kat. It's like, Ryan, what? This is so odd.
Even Ryan is like, yeah, I gave him no boundaries. I told him to do whatever the heck he wants. But listen, I in this alone, I think I am Team James. I'm like, listen, this sounds like a setup to me. Y'all ain't get me on worldwide TV, making out with another woman, and then want me to go back to my original person and be like, it's all good. No, I'm gonna stay 5 feet away from you. You sleep in that bed, I'm gonna sleep in this bed, and we're gonna keep it real friendly here, and that's about it. I'm not getting set up with this show. I'm not doing it. Especially since James is the one that got pulled off to the show. This seems like a classic trap to me. I'm not doing it. You're not gonna get me.
I doubt James put that much thought into it.
I don't know. I mean, I felt like James instantly got put with Raya and was like, oh shoot, actually I do want to be with Ryan, so I'm just gonna coast here for the next 3 weeks and then get back to Ryan. Like, that's what it felt like.
James had no interest in Ryan whatsoever. I feel like I forgot what the order of the operations was. I'm not sure if he was stuck with her at the end. But
I feel like we're all stuck. But I feel like James would have been good for Kat. Kat wouldn't have she would not have. Yeah, imagine like Antonio and Raya. I feel like that would have been an interesting dynamic.
Brian and Lisa messed it up. Brian and Lisa messed it up.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like he was ever interested. Like, even from the outside, he was like, I guess I'm gonna be here for 3 weeks. Cool.
Imagine
and then he sees
the alternate universe where Brian and Raya got together, and then Lisa and Raya had the conversation at the girls' night out.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, that would have been intense.
Ambulances would have to been called. But like, and then James sees Ryan and Trey kind of hit it off. He's like, oh shoot, this is real. Like, this is a panic situation. He really, and even as they're talking like on the guys' night out with he and Trey's like, oh yeah, Ryan's opening up great. You can just see the look on James' face, like, oh my god, I'm losing her to Trey. Little does he know that Ryan's like, oh, he's so sweet. Like, you're fine, James. You're okay.
I thought it was really interesting on the guys' night out with Trey and James, how James just immediately went to his critiques of Raya and was like, she doesn't compromise in any argument. She is not in a position to get married. And I was like, whoa, okay, that's what we're doing here.
He's like, you might want to look at some outside prospects, because this ain't gonna work for you. Like, oh, okay.
He's like, I'm telling you right now, she is not. Where it's so interesting, because usually we get more of the like, okay, maybe if they might be invested in it, it could just be like I'm interested, like a Jake and Ray situation. But this was like, look, outside perspective, this is my opinion from my 3 weeks with her, where I barely got to know her.
It feels like everyone's like, oh, dude, your partner sucks, bro. Like, they are awful to live with. Everyone except, of course, Trey and Ryan. Everyone else is like, your person sucks. Like, you got to get away from them immediately.
I like Trey and Raya both separately. Like, I think they're both really nice, good people. I think they're just like, they're going to mention themselves, like maybe they're just not compatible. And I think like in not even, they talk a lot about the emotional stuff, but I really think it has a lot more to do with like, they just don't want the same things. They're not exactly in the same places they're in their life right now. So I personally felt like it was probably good that James told Trey, like, look, from everything I know, you seem like a really great person. I think you'll be able to find someone. It's okay. Yeah, like, why are you like, it doesn't need to be this hard with Raya. Like, I don't think that he was really saying like tons and tons of negative stuff with Raya. Like, he didn't have a great experience with her because he wasn't open to trying. But that's more on him. So yeah, Raya and James are going to talk. He does eventually apologize, says that he's sorry he wasn't able to give her the experience that she might have been looking for, but hope she got something out of it. Even if, and he does joke and say, even if it's just things you don't want, like based on what I showed you. And that's That's okay.
I guess still on the James note though, I do think that it was very odd when he brings up to Trey, like there are things that I haven't told Ryan about my past. I'm like, y'all have been together for 7 years. What do y'all talk about?
Right, like it can't be both. You've been together for 7 years. Why haven't you proposed? And also, you've been together in 7 years, and I haven't told you some pretty basic stuff about me that, like, honestly, I'm confused. Like, we're gonna hear about it.
I think he was hinting in this almost every episode that he had this big secret they had to tell, and we hear what it is later. And I think it is pretty. I think that's a pretty big thing.
It is. Itself. Yeah, but it does. After hearing about it, like, it does make me wonder, how close are they really? Like, we know they don't live together. Like, how much time do they actually spend together? Because
he was in school for 5.5 years, so they're in 2 different places.
Like, I had a 7-year relationship that lasted the same span that theirs did, from 16 to 23, and in that time, we went to different colleges. And and then you're in high school. And so when you're in high school, you're not necessarily opening up about super deep things. And, you're only seeing each other for the most part at school and on some dates, right? Like, it's not the same as 7 years being spent together when you're either living together or living in the same city close by, being able to spend a lot of time together. And that's what I'm saying. Like, therefore, if you did, like, propose, it's based off of a lot less time than what 7 years is otherwise. Like, you could do more in 4 years together or 2 years together if you're both right near each other, spending all your time together. If he's in school for all of this, like, how much time are you really spending?
But it seems like he's in school near her. No, is that what I am picking
up? But like, it's still, are they hanging out while he's doing homework? Like, I guess I don't know the logistics of their relationship, so I can see how it might not have come up. But at the same time, like, if you're a person who's talking about marriage enough to be going on the ultimatum, and to a point where someone has given you an ultimatum, then how have you not had other conversations?
Well, I mean, I think that's kind of the question for all these couples, right? Because, like, take Trey and Ryan, for example. They hadn't talked about children, and Trey is dragging her onto the show. Like, I want to marry you so bad. And now he's like, well, oh, wait a minute. We didn't talk about where we're going to live, how many kids we want, if we want kids. So, like, none of these people are really ready to be married to these people because they don't know enough about each other. I don't know what brought them to this show, but I think it's about who thinks they're ready for marriage and who isn't. Trey, who thinks he's ready for marriage, doesn't know these basic questions. And then, like, as you said, James hasn't opened up all he can to Ryan, but I mean, he did, get brought on the show and give him the ultimatum. He didn't choose to come on the show.
True.
Yeah,
it's weird. I think context definitely matters for James and Ryan. But they, like we said, we didn't have much else to go off of with their relationship. Even when we move into their trial marriage later, it's still like, I mean, we do get a little bit deeper, but in terms of their actual relationship and how they are together, we don't get much context. But yeah, the next couple, Antonio and Kat. Gosh.
Antonio came out of nowhere and became a character in this drop of episodes. Like, Antonio, the first drop was the guy who was like, why is this guy, like, basically, like, flocking himself on worldwide television, tell him how, like, crappy he is and how terrible a person he is. And then he just came out the gate, this drop, just like out of nowhere.
Look, I have so many questions about Antonio and Roxanne's relationship, because I feel like I could see it being one of two things. Either she lies to him a lot, and therefore when he hears negative things that we as an audience are seeing Roxanne say about him, he's like, no, she would never say that. She would never say something like that. And it's like, so is she just lying to him at all times? Because she's very open about these feelings to everyone else, it seems like. Or he's just, like, for someone who openly admits that he's been very selfish and doesn't necessarily, like, he seems to know what it is she's looking for him, and he is put her in this ultimatum position, but he doesn't seem willing to do the things that she's asking for. So I'm just really lost on like what it is, like how he views their relationship. He's so afraid of losing her, but he doesn't want to actively change at all to keep her. Like, it's very confusing.
It's wild because he's so, I don't even know if defensive is the right word, but I don't even know if protective is the right word, but just this energy he came with at the night out. Like, I thought it was so funny when Alex was just like, yeah, I hold Roxanne accountable. And Antonio was like, specifics, how? He's like, oh, when like she has a work email, blah, blah, blah. He's like, you read her work emails? It's just all of a sudden he had this like passion behind like, this is my woman, you're intruding, what is going on, you better watch what you say type of thing.
But at the same time, Alex, I know we're not talking about Alex yet technically, is so frustrating with like how he doesn't really ever say anything until he decided to say the one thing in this episode. He, like, I think we mentioned in the first episode, like, Kat's talking a lot about, you know, how she feels leaving him, and then he just doesn't say anything back. Or it's this show. This show is the most frustrating with editing, where they make it seem like people just stop talking mid-sentence, and that's it. And I'm like, I know they said more. I know he didn't end on that.
Or they show us weird, like, cut off sentences. I'm like, are you ever going to come back to that? Or are you just going to...
No, that's how they ended the conversation.
They just include pauses. It'll be like, Jason, I feel like... You know what I mean? Like, that's how the sentences work. And this is why you got to put it on 2x speed. If they had the ability on the show to do what you can do with podcasts and like cut out the silence, whew, these things would fly.
They have nothing else to put in there. They don't even have filler to put in the show. They just have to keep the silences.
They're like, we don't want the episodes to be 20 minutes.
But it's like how Antonio was like, I'm the only one that can talk crap about me. No one else can talk crap about me. I'm the only one that can talk crap about me. I just imagine how it is being like in a space with Antonio. Like, it's like dead silent. He's like, you know what? I killed a guy one time. Like, I'm really awful. I am the worst person you've ever met. I promise you. Like, okay, we didn't ask you that, bro. Like,
right? No one said you put that on yourself.
All this information.
He says at the beginning, like, that he knows the reasons that Roxanne, like the issues Roxanne has with him. He knows that it's because she views him as, you know, not as determined or whatever, or at least that's what Roxanne tells us. And so then when he says, like, I know what those reasons are, she would never say that she disrespects me. And I'm like, but isn't that kind of exactly like what you said that she thinks about you?
And she will tell anyone that she'll tell anyone that listens that he sucks. Like, I don't know why she's so defensive after she's confronted about this. She tells every single person.
It's semantics, because she didn't use the term whipping boy.
I didn't say whipping boy. I didn't say I didn't respect you. I said so many things around that.
These things.
It's not that I don't respect you. It's that I feel like you have never had a goal in your life and you've never been driven.
I feel like you will never know how to be an entrepreneur. I feel like all you care about is playing video games in your cave. But I do respect you.
I have to know what Roxanne does for a business. She talks so much about business. Me and Alex, we talk business all the time. We talk business every day. We talk business every hour. I almost feel like it's like an MLM. Like, she sells like some, like, and she calls it her company. She sells like some kind of products that, you know, it's like a pyramid scheme thing.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe she has I mean, we could probably look it up.
Right.
Roxanne. She franchises a gym chain or something. I almost feel like it's that type of thing. I don't know.
But I did feel that it was so, like, we obviously saw how passionate he was about Roxanne, but then it was so weird that all of a sudden, like, because we've obviously known him and Kat, they're sleeping separately. They've never give off any romantic vibes. And then he goes, I've been an open book with Kat, and I just don't feel like she's returning that. What? All of a sudden, like, what are you talking about? Like,
we barely knew you were on the show, the two of you. They barely show any of your interactions. So how, like, and that's the part that frustrates me about this show, is that they say so much stuff. I'm like, do you have any footage to support what you're saying right now? Because you're just saying like random stuff that we have no idea what you're talking about. Everyone on the show says, I learned so much from this person. When and where did you learn anything? I don't get it. I don't understand.
All right, I discovered what Roxanne's business is.
Oh, here we go.
All right, take one guess. Okay, Jason said MLM. Aysha, what do you think it is?
Okay, so if is
I do want to let me give Aysha something. She says she works with women a lot.
It is a woman-centric business, and it is not an MLM. It's
she works from home. It's not Tupperware.
Yep. She works at a company that makes nipple covers. You know, like a little sticky boobs, basically.
Yeah, what are they called?
Pasties?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I picture pasties to be more decorative, but maybe not. but these days,
that's what she's working. That's what she's working so hard on.
The thing is, I get so many ads for these not this company, but this type of thing on Instagram. So I feel like there's a market for this.
That's what she's
so
working.
So she started it. I could see the grind that she's talking about. Maybe she's one of she's on the executive board or something.
The way she talks, though, she runs a Fortune 500 company. Like the way that she talks about business.
The story, the tagline says boobs, business, and burning bras.
Just eliminating the need for bras.
Confidence.
That is a movement.
All about confidence. Empowerment, loving yourself. You can become part of the bad bitch club by joining.
I'm already part of that. Thank you very much.
I already have my membership card. But yeah,
I like this. Look, women feel confident. The pair's mission has been to step away from the societal standards of beauty, release your inner sexy, and throw your bras to the haters. I like this. It sounds pretty good.
A lot of people have been throwing their bras on stage to Drake. So is Drake a hater?
Maybe. Anyway, so yeah, look, it's a company. All right. Good for Roxanne.
That's the business.
Right.
Anyway, but we haven't touched Kat at all.
With Antonio.
What is there to say about Kat?
There was nothing because the night out, he's mad at Alex, right? And then when he goes home, he's still mad about Alex, and so he calls Roxanne, and then he called Alex an S-bag, and Kat said, "Don't talk about my man." Right? Do not talk about my man. And so then he sprints out the house, and I was thinking, is he gonna run to Roxanne's apartment? Yeah.
Was Alex there? Do you think? Like, was Alex like hiding in the bedroom? He's like, oh crap! Like,
doubt it. I don't know. That's been weird. Because then he comes back and he's like, I bet you're wondering what was wrong with me. Yeah, I don't know. You ran out the house. What do you mean?
I think I got a pretty good idea what's wrong with you, Antonio.
Kat literally got the least amount of screen time.
She doesn't say anything. She doesn't say anything. The thing with Kat is she seems to be like a people pleaser type of person. She will pretty much agree with anything anyone around her says. Like she's like, yep, I definitely see that. Like she'll give a little bit of her opinion, but she's like, I definitely see she's definitely a people pleasing person. And I mean, listen, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm surprised that Alex hasn't married her already because it seems like Alex and Roxanne are like, what happens when you put like two narcissists in a room together? Like, and I feel like Alex would love to just keep running over Kat the way he does. So I'm surprised he hasn't married her yet.
I think. Well, okay. Are we gonna pivot to Alex? Because
yeah, let's talk about Alex first. Because there's literally the only other thing was Kat bringing up. She's like, I didn't want to bring this up to you, but Alex's mom texted me about this, and he's like, well, then
liars.
His parents are liars. Why are you attacking someone's parents, calling them a liar? That blew my mind.
All of Alex's ancestors are liars. All the way down the line, do an ancestry 23andMe, they're all freaking liars. So, anything they ever said is a lie.
I think that this show did a really fascinating job twice of showing us something very small in passing that you're just like, oh, whatever, and then culminates in this like thing that makes total sense here. So Kat is going to mention that she thinks it's interesting and cute that Antonio shows her all these YouTube videos that he's interested in, which are all these like conspiracy theory videos. And then at the point where he's confronted with both Alex saying negative things about him that Roxanne said and the text messages from Alex's mother, he's like, it's a conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Alex is trying to steal Roxanne from me. And I'm like, oh, I see how your brain works now. Like, that's fascinating the way they explain that to us.
I just love the way he's so dead set on Alex is trying to get my woman, juxtaposed to all the times where Alex is like, I freaking hate this lady. She is
and
terrible.
Roxanne's like, Alex is the worst.
Yeah, I can't stand her. I can't wait to get away from her. She's terrible.
The second time that I think we get interesting foreshadowing is, okay, we're going to have the scene with meeting Roxanne's parents. So Alex is going to meet Roxanne's parents. And on the surface, it actually seems pretty good. He's getting along. He's saying all these complimentary things about her, talking about how Roxanne has showed him that maybe he showed Roxanne, whichever, that they've seen like how you can challenge each other in business and still be in a marriage, and that like doesn't diminish your worth, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All that's great. Also, shout out to Roxanne's parents. I really love them. I think both of the scenes we get with her parents, I like. But then, and the only bit we get here is that Roxanne mentions that she had an ex that challenged her and she didn't like it. And that sometimes she wants Alex to be a little chivalrous, pull out a chair, open a door, but he doesn't really do that. And he's like, oh, I do that. And then, and nothing else is said about it in that scene.
Well, talk about foreshadowing. We'll talk about foreshadowing. Before they even got into the restaurant, you can hear Roxanne say to Alex, "Are you going to open the door for me?" Like that's that's important. Like on their way inside to meet her parents before this whole thing pops off.
Yeah. So then later on, when they get to the night out, Roxanne just like goes off to Kat and is like, "Look,
I need to get this off my chest.
You deserve so much better than Alex," which I appreciate her like hyping Kat up. Thank you. That was nice. I mean, Kat, again, giving us nothing, but like seems perfectly nice. Saying that he like lies about small things and it's weird, and that he's putting on a front and he acts like he has no flaws. And
he's not a gentleman.
He can't talk about weaknesses. And then we're going to see all of these scenes with Alex where he's asked direct questions, won't answer them, acts after having a big fight, acts like everything's fine and it's just fun. And it's like, it's so interesting that you see a scene where it's happening, but you don't realize it. Then she says it happened. And then you see a bunch more scenes of it happening. Like, I found that to be riveting.
Yeah, she even said he doesn't feel like Alex can appreciate the beauty of a woman. And so for me, all of this felt so out of the blue, because we came off of the last 4 episodes like, oh, they're the same person. They're getting along so well. So for her to say all of these things, right? And then to go back and see like further like into the episode, with this being the foreshadowing of Alex telling Antonio's like, so are you leaving? Are you leaving with Kat? Are you trying to get with Roxanne? Are you trying to like propose to Kat? And he's like, none of the above. He's like, what? You have to do one of these things.
That's the point of the show. You have to do one. And Alex is like, well, that's just a byproduct of. And then again, like Mary said, like there's the end of the sentence. Like, what are you talking about? Like, he's gonna say, well, that's just part of the show. Like, I'm gonna do whatever that guy wants.
Yeah, and I get that he like doesn't want to reveal the twist of whatever decision he's made or whatever. Like, I'm sure the show would edit it out even if he said it there. But yeah. So Alex is going to say that the night was good and fun, and she's like, I don't think so, because Antonio called me saying all this.
She didn't even try to fake it. There was nothing about her that was happy. And he was like, oh, can give me a hug. That's something I like to do. We've never really been apart, but that's something I like to do when we come back together, is give me a hug. It was like, read the room. She is pissed off right now.
I do love, she was like, so how was the night? How did everything go? She's laying the trap. She's waiting for him to just walk into it, and it's just going to clamp down on him. And like you said, he's just like, oh yeah, real good.
It was the most obvious, like the biggest piece of cheese on the trap, and he didn't.
But do you think he thought that this Antonio thing was a big deal? That's why he's like, yeah, it was good. Like I had no problems. Like I just told Antonio what it was, and that was it.
I think he is like, I think she's right when she says that he puts up a front and he wants to present himself as this like person who's not bothered by anything, where everything's great and fine. And so he's going to do things like lie to her parents that things are going well, lie to himself and to her and saying that the night was fun and there was no issues. Like I do think that he doesn't care if Antonio's upset. Like I think that that's probably part of it, but he's someone who needs to be winning in the arguments. You know, when she starts saying things like, you know, in this marriage, I've told you, you know, marriage again, whatever, that like, you know, we need to do things together, and you choose not to do those things. The argument they had about like cleaning the house, and he points out that he took out the trash once. I was so happy that she called him. I was like, oh, so when I say, can you help me with this, you decide not to do it, but you did the bare minimum and you expect me to be impressed by that. Like, I agree, Jason, that she is a strong personality, and I don't know enough about her relationship with Antonio to say that like that's a winning combo. But I think that she was definitely showing me like this is a 30-plus-year-old woman who is independent, has a business, has a life, and isn't going to take crap from an alpha male type like Alex, who is like going to act like, well, I'm a grown man. If I think that the house is dirty, I'll clean it, but otherwise I won't. It's like, that's not how a healthy marriage should work, though. Probably if you know, like, it's not about just what you think and you want, and I understand that it's because he doesn't care about being in a marriage with her.
Mm-hmm.
Well, listen,
You
two
know?
things can be true, right? She can be this, you know, fantastic alpha female, but she can also suck, right? In her in her way that she basically in the way she treats Antonio. I think both of those things can be true. She also like, she sucks, but she's also this alpha boss female.
You're right, and that's where I'm a little confused, because I feel like if she would just listen to the things that she says that she calls Alex out on, like I do think that Antonio could call her out on those same things. Like I think she wants both, right? She wants to be given flowers and to be treated like a queen, but also have her significant other be an equal in the work. Like I think that she wants both of those things. And I think that that's fine as long as she also then treats Antonio with respect and like shows him that she cares. You know, I think that like chivalry can go both ways. You know, it doesn't, you know, he'll, you know, if it's really important that he opens the door for you, that's fine. But then ask him what's really important that you need to do for him, which we find out is saying that you love him, and then she just doesn't want to do it. Like so many of these people feel like it's so important to get the things that they want out of a relationship, but have such a hard time giving the other person what they want.
I mean, welcome to reality
it's almost
dating
like they're
shows.
a little selfish.
Hey, you know, at least Antonio admits it.
Right.
Yeah. I do like how Roxanne called Alex out, like, why are you snitching, bro? Like, quit snitching on me. Like, I told you that's something confidence.
I thought this was a safe space. He's like, oh, so you're admitting it. He is so smug, and he was so annoying in this conversation. Even for him to be like, oh my God, I can't handle a conversation, trying to mock Roxanne. I was just like, what are you even doing? Like, you're just being the most annoying person you can be in this argument. It's not productive. And I was like, now I see what it would be like if Kat tried to push back on him. She probably never does. And so he never even has to get to this point where he's like, because he doesn't know how to have like a mature discussion. It's just this petty argument.
And that's
stay in your lane, Aysha. Stay in your lane.
You're not my mom.
I'm not a mature, respectable woman, apparently.
That's where I'm like most afraid is for Kat, because I do feel like Kat says that she's going to be more assertive with the things she wants, etc. But it feels like she deserves a lot better treatment, and that if he even gives her an ounce of improvement and growth, she's going to be like, wow, look how he's changed. And I don't know that she's experienced some of these red flags, because maybe it does take someone pushing back against Alex to see it. Like maybe she hasn't had a conversation like that with Alex, but I do feel like that's how it would go.
I kind of don't think Kat even cares if Alex changed. I think the only thing Kat wants is Alex to ask her to marry him, and she will say yes. And I think through this experience with Roxanne, Alex is like, oh, I saw what it was like when I had like a strong woman push back on me. Let me go ahead and just go with Kat, who I know that I can, you know, just kind of steamroll.
But like,
so annoying.
I don't know that he even would propose to her, because he'd probably go, well, she's not going to push back on it. So like, is she really going to leave me? Is she going to leave me? Probably not. So I'll just tell her
and he
I'm
has
closer
no
to a proposal, and then just go back home and maybe do it, maybe not.
Yeah, he's like, nope, that was just a show. Because now it's not like she was with somebody that she actually wanted to give a chance. She was with Antonio, and she didn't care.
He hasn't had the James experience of hearing that someone else really likes Kat. Yeah, exactly. So
they need okay, here's a new thought. Bring in 4 couples. 4. And the person who received the ultimatum, they're given an option of 4 eligible bachelors that are or bachelors or bachelorettes that are a match for them, that we did the research and these people are compatible with you. You go on a date with these 4 people. So everybody has a separate 4. You can get that out there. There are plenty of single people who would go on a reality show.
It's like an auditorium. You choose your singles. It's like,
you get like 4 people. So that's what, 16 eligible people. And then you pick your person after you go on a week of dating. And that's the person you do the trial marriage with.
Wouldn't it be
Don't
32?
just match it with some other random couple.
Would it be 32 people? Because 8 people each gets 4?
No, not each. So like 8 people, right? 4 couples. And just the ultimatum receiver gets the other person.
So the ultimatum just has to hang back and watch.
Yeah, and just watch some cameras of their dates.
That's awkward.
Well, I guess, yeah, maybe you would have to do 4 for each person. Okay, maybe 3. 3 for each person. Your cast wouldn't be that big because we'll whittle it down. They do it for Love is Blind. You have 25 people dating 25 other people.
Put them in pods. Might as well call it Love is Blind. Season 5.
I'm just saying there has to be
Aysha
something better
accidentally invented Love is Blind again.
She reverse engineered it.
There has to be something better than just being stuck with some other couple who's in the same situation you are in that you aren't compatible with. Because to actually have a first trial marriage that could be successful, that person has to there has to be actual potential there.
Yeah, and someone always ends up getting scraps, right? Like in this format. Like, and I don't think that's entertaining at all. Like every season is like, well, this is like, I guess I pick you. Yeah, because you're my only option.
You have no one else. Me neither. But I thought it was funny with Alex. I guess my last statement on Alex is that, at least him with Roxanne, is that he was like, oh, I love how independent you are. I love how you own a business and how like you're a boss. And then cut to, you're not my mom. You're not going to boss me around. Like, you don't pick a lane. You stay in your lane.
Yeah. Alex, like, and this is why if I have to pick between the two, like I'm going to pick Team Roxanne here because like she at least is adult enough to in the morning like say, and I know it's a setup. It's like, I'm going to apologize for something because I want you to apologize for something and admit that you're wrong on it. But she does legitimately, like, she does apologize. And I mean, even like he could have done the same thing, or she says, I apologize for my delivery, but I'm glad that I got some of those things off my chest. And I feel like all he needed to do was say, yeah, I feel like this isn't something we're going to see eye to eye on. And I also apologize for some of the things that I said. That's all he needed to say. But instead, he's like, I don't feel bad about the other night at all. Feel like the way I spoke was warranted.
That was such a hilarious scene where she
apologizes.
Was waiting on it too. And then like I was sitting there, I was like, oh, he's not going to apologize. And then she called him out. And I was like, oh, I didn't expect that. She called him on it. He's like, yeah. No, I did nothing wrong. I'm good. Damn, like that was entertaining right there. That was our little morsel of entertainment. We had like a little morsel in every episode. I was like, oh, this is actually funny. This is actually good.
Yeah, she's a lot, but like, I don't know. And maybe some people listening to me are just gonna say, well, why does the independent woman get to decide what she's not gonna put up with, but the independent man doesn't? And I'd say, I mean, fair, I guess, but it's just Alex is just seems cringe to me.
I mean, but they both suck though. They're co-villains. Yeah. So then we move over to the changeover. And look, Vanessa's back. It's not sitting this one out. Vanessa gets to make her annual speech about, I gave Nick an ultimatum and I had to let him know who I truly was before we could pick to be with each other. Like, okay, Vanessa, this is the second time we've heard this, or the fourth time. Maybe you can do it twice a season, I feel like. We get it. We know it.
And has she worked it into the Love is Blind? Like, I'm
sure.
Like,
maybe
She
see,
just
it fits
always
more
makes
with
it
this one.
personal.
Like, I see why they created the show because like she gave him an ultimatum and they dated other people and that's when they discovered that they were meant to be together. It's not like they blind dated other people or whatever. Like
Right.
it's like this made sense and it makes even less sense of why there was one host for Queer Love who was not queer nor had an ultimatum.
So
Doesn't make any sense. Anyway, so in the changeover, there's not like a ton. There's a little bit of drama here where um, uh, Trey tells everyone, including Raya, that he caught feelings for Ryan. I appreciate the fact that this was out in the open, like that this was said. She's hurt by it. Vanessa's going to call James out for it taking 7 years. It took one night after 7 years of one other man's interest in her for him to see how valuable Ryan was. That was a little funny.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
that was the Vanessa being mad at one of the contestants for something randomly. But it was a good point. Like,
yeah.
they needed to be said by somebody. Like, what clicked for you?
With all the trouble that it's going to cause Trey, would you have been upset if he did not like admit to catching feelings for Ryan in this moment? With how much it affected Raya down the line, would you have been upset if he had omitted that?
That's a little close to the like, should you tell your partner you cheated on them if it's just going to make them upset?
But when Trey says catch feelings, like, I don't know if he knows what that means. Like, I don't know if he's like, does he wants to date Ryan after this? Like,
I think
He
he
has a little
does.
crush.
I think he has a crush. Like, I think you're right. He could have downplayed it and said, like, oh, yes, it was impossible after these 3 weeks to not see how great of a person Ryan
yeah,
is.
he could
And
have said,
stuff.
I
Like, he could
really
have said
enjoyed my
that.
time. I
Yeah.
really, not to make Raya think, all right, Raya, it's either you or Ryan. That's what it is. When Raya's like, oh, I had no idea this was even part of this show, basically.
But,
Mhm.
like, the way that Raya was talking about Brian before he left, like, do you think more of this has to do with the fact that Raya was upset that she didn't get to have the same experience of having a crush on
Yeah,
someone? Like, I think
definitely. That's definitely a big
I
part
think
of
it
it.
factors in at the very
Yeah.
least.
Because if she
Um,
had been with Brian and she caught feelings, it would have been, she wouldn't have had any problem with it.
yeah. Yep. So,
Yeah, I was like, what was the point? We spent more time on the changeover than we did in week 3 of the trial marriage. So it's like, let's keep it pushing.
I did like Antonio calling Alex out again, like in public. It's like, your parents are liars. They're all liars. I'm surprised Alex didn't get up and like do something.
Yeah.
Say one more thing about my mom.
I like that Kat was like, why would she do that though? Why would they be making this up? This makes
Just
no sense.
reason. Yeah. There's
No reason.
no motive.
I do have a thought on that. This is the last thing I'll say. Like, I don't know these people, but Alex's mom gives me vibes of my son can do no wrong. Nobody's perfect for him.
Oh yeah.
So it's kind of
Mama's
like
boy.
I wonder if there was anything else in the text message about like, yeah, Roxanne seems to really not like her partner Antonio. I hear that you're with Antonio, but yeah, Roxanne and Alex seem to be getting along really well. Like I don't know. I'm a little suspicious. Like,
I thought it
I
was interesting
disagree.
that she was so close to Alex's parents that they would, text her
But
about
is
this.
it close or is it like drama stirring? Like, if I was Kat, I would be wondering like, why are they texting me this though? Like, why are they telling me this? Is it because we're really close, or is it because they want me to feel some kind of way? Like, I don't know. I'm surprised that Kat is defending them so much because it's not
That's
like
what makes
it didn't seem like they were super complimentary of Kat.
Yeah, that's what makes me think it was more of a we're close. We
Okay.
know that this show is like a weird idea, so hey, we were involved, so we're gonna reach out to you to tell you our little piece of it. But I could just be being naive.
I don't know. I think maybe that it's definitely possible that the Kat and Alex are the couple that they're editing in a certain way to make us think that they're not going to propose, but then they do, and it's like it was always the case, but we didn't see it coming because they edited it weird.
No, I think that Kat and Alex are destined for the aisle. I think he's going to propose. She's
That's
going
what
to
I'm
say
saying. Yeah,
yes.
I think he's going to propose. Like, I think
Yeah.
that maybe they're trying to make it seem like there's a lot more drama, but really
I mean, I think it's
they're
tough
locked
when
in.
I think it's tough when the couple's one sided and we don't really get that much from Kat in the first
Yeah.
place.
Yeah, definitely hard. Anyway, so shall we start the second trial marriages? Anything else from the changeover?
No.
Not a lot that we didn't already see. So let's see. Who do we want to start with?
Let's go Kat. Let's just go right into Kat and Alex while we're still on that
Okay.
theme.
So Kat and Alex, this is where she does bring up like the love languages and tells him like what she wants, and he basically says, yeah, but see, the thing is, I don't get anything out of words of affirmation. So it's weird for me to like, I just don't understand why you'd want that, basically. And not gonna lie, had 100% pretty much word for word this exact conversation once where I was like, but see, the thing is, I understand that it's challenging to give love in a way that you don't feel like you don't want to, receive. But this is important to me and I'm willing to do for you. So kind of would like that reciprocation. And they're like, yeah, but I just don't get it. Like, I'm logical, and logically it's physical touch. Like that's the one. And like, whatever he said, like spending time together or whatever it was. He's
He
like,
might as
those
well
are the ones
told
that make
her,
sense.
I'm selfish. I am selfish. What do you not get about that?
Yeah.
And it's so interesting that Alex and Kat have almost the identical conversation that Antonio and Roxanne will have later of like,
yeah.
well, I don't want to do that. So oh well, shrug emoji, I guess. You just gotta live with it.
It's like, and if you discover that you really don't want to give love in the way that someone wants to receive it, then maybe you're not compatible. Like maybe you just don't have the ability to do that. If you're not willing to put in that effort, then don't be with this person. And that's where I feel like Kat, like there are people who would just give you words of affirmation, like and would hear that and go, wow, you know what? I care about you and I would like you to feel loved.
And there are people that it's not a big deal to give words of affirmation. Just like
Yeah.
it rolls off the tongue with no trouble at all.
The
But
He
these
way
doesn't
people
that
want to
have
be
Alex
bossed
talks about
around,
it is like
Jason.
it's like he doesn't get it, and therefore he doesn't like he's not going to do it.
yeah,
He
but these
doesn't
people
get
here
it, but
have
he's
such a
not trying
struggle.
to. He doesn't get it. He's not trying to get it because it shouldn't. If you care about your partner, you should care about how they want to receive love. And you don't have to understand it. You understanding it does not mean that they have to change the way they want to receive love. And that's how he's making it seem like just because it means absolutely nothing to him, then it should mean absolutely nothing to her. And I feel like she's not pressing enough because that was a very important conversation that should have been like an eye opener. But I don't think it was. I think that was probably same old what she's used to with him.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Um
So then they're going to meet with her friends who kind of like we're saying, they're like, I like the person who says, I like Alex. I think Alex is a nice guy and I like him, but I don't think he's ready yet, so I don't like him.
yeah.
I hate them.
And there wasn't a whole lot else. Like Kat is going to say that Alex has shown improvement. We haven't seen any of it.
Even when he showed up, for them to ask, like, he's like, it's blatantly obvious what has to happen here. They're like, well, do you think you got enough time to work out your answer, like for this ultimatum? He's like, wow, that's a really good question. I have not been asked.
He did
Like,
the same thing with Roxanne's dad. Like this is a line for him. This is like,
mm-hmm.
oh, what a great question. I never
thought
thought about that. I love
Mm-hmm.
how crappy he is. And like, so where are you on your decisions? Like, it's like, I'm about 51%, in my thought process. Gross.
Yeah. And then we're gonna meet with his parents again. I don't know why. I still just I get weird vibes from his mom. And then they all agree that maybe he's in analysis paralysis. And his
Even
dad being like, it takes some men like years to decide these things. Like, okay, that's fine, but that doesn't mean people need to wait around for you to make those decisions.
right. Kat even said, and to like bring it full circle, she said, oh, he's getting much better at words of affirmation. Oh, did they just not film any of that? Or because this is like back to back and we see no evidence of it, but we could take her word for it that he's gotten better, even though the last time he talked about it, he just did not care.
again, it's like, where is the proof? Show me the filmed evidence of what you're saying. This show, it frustrates. I have the same feeling about all these Netflix love shows. There's so much that we are missing in these shows. I don't know if they need another couple extra episodes to really get it all in there or what, but I feel like all these Netflix shows are missing a lot of context with all this stuff. This one is the biggest evidence of that.
I think they just do this because they want to add suspense, and so by showing us less, we don't know what the case of their relationship is. Whereas maybe he did completely change and start, saying the words of affirmation, or maybe he doesn't. And then he's still going to propose, and then we're confused. Like, I don't know. So, all right, let's go to Roxanne and Antonio. So the two of them.
I will say this every season. It is one thing to see the first trial marriage if they get intimate, to have those cameras in the room.
Boy.
But to do the couples that have been together for years, that feels so invasive to see them have like.
At least we didn't get the like Love is Blind Zoom treatment. At least it's just the black and white like Dark Knight goggles. But like,
they might as well have full lights on. You can see everything. I was like, oh, okay, I know what we're doing.
Like, I mean, I get that this is Netflix, but these are real people. This is not scripted. Meaning this isn't like simulated sex. This is actual sex that we are watching. And there is thrusting happening. Like, why are we allowed to watch this?
I feel like we could have assumed that any of the couples that got back together, that this happened. Like, we didn't have to see it. Like, they just were lacking that much from Roxanne and Antonio that we had to get this scene to know that they've gotten back together and their intimacy is there. And their only problem is just how she looks at him.
She says, yeah, we banged. Oh, he's going to hate that I'm telling you this. Telling us this. We already saw it.
That was all we needed. Like, damn. I was like,
yeah, we didn't need the scene.
Anyway, she wants Antonio to say, he wants her to say that she loves him more. They have a debate about whether or not being married makes a woman more or less credible. I don't know. That's kind of like I don't think that marriage is necessarily a factor in that. I think that, I don't know, whatever.
It almost seems like she's being deliberately obtuse, right? It feels like it's almost a put on for the camera to me, where she's like, he tells her he loves, she's like, oh, you want me to say it back? Oh, sorry, I'm just not feeling it right now. It almost felt like produced to me. For her, I don't think anyone put her up to it. I think she wants to be like a character. I think that's part of it.
I would just love for someone, like, if Antonio said, well, I don't feel today like giving you flowers, but I know you want it. Like,
I don't feel like getting a job today, but
okay. Here's where we get the biggest plot twist ever. So they meet with Roxanne's parents again. I still love them. I don't know why. Maybe I've just chosen that they're
the dad to me gives like douche vibes.
Well,
a little bit with some of the stuff he says.
In comparison to Alex's parents, I like
you're gonna respect the in-laws, right? You gotta respect the in-laws. I liked Alex's parents more than I did Roxanne's parents.
Here's the plot twist. We've been led to believe, based on the way that everyone talks about Antonio, including Antonio,
right,
that he's just a bum sitting at home on his couch doing nothing. We find out in this conversation that he has recently bought a business and that he's planning on buying more. Like, so wait, hold up. Her whole thing is that she wants someone who's in business like she is, but it sounds like he is.
His businesses, he's buying those penis sleeves that the actors have. She has nipple covers. He's got the penis sleeves that you use for productions.
I don't think that those are not comparable things.
No? that's like, I want to know what his business is, because it seems like it came out of nowhere. Like, he just, like, did he buy a Subway franchise? Like, what?
I don't
maybe
know.
It's so recent that like he saw like, okay, Alex has businesses. She likes that Alex has businesses.
He bought it like
maybe
yesterday.
I need to get a business. Yeah.
Maybe he's become like an affiliate on Twitch. Does that count? Maybe be a partner. I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know.
Like, anyway, her mom is going to tell her that maybe she's making it harder than it needs to be. And I don't know, her dad's like, finances can come and go. Finding someone to love is a lot harder. Roxanne does confuse me a little because I feel like she's had conversations where she talks about wanting to have a big family. Family's so important to her. And then she'll turn around and have another conversation saying that she's never thought of marriage and never picture herself married.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Very inconsistent. Very inconsistent.
Yeah. I don't know. Anything else on them?
No, just that, like, I don't think that I think they very well could end up together. I could very well see him proposing. But because I think we even did see that in the preview.
Yeah, he's definitely proposing. It's just about whether or not she says yes or not.
I could see her being like feeling bad and just being like, okay, why not? Yes. But then the reunion, like the things just crashed and burned. Because I don't think in her mind, I really do believe that she thinks that she's settling because of what she thinks her standard is and where he's at and what he's doing. It just seems like, especially now he has trying to get a business, he's just trying to get to her level. And she's the way that she works and quote unquote grinds, she's always trying to raise the bar. So he's never going to catch up in her mind. And so I don't think that it's just, it just seems like a lose-lose situation because they're not in their own lanes. They're not following their own passions individually.
It almost feels like she's like mothering him at many different points. She's like, I have to keep looking over your shoulder, making sure you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. I'm like, okay, that's a little weird, but all right.
You're applying for your LLC? You're doing that? Good job.
You make sure all the paperwork is filled out correctly, sweetie.
Right.
Yeah. But maybe I think maybe a part of her enjoys that, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that she won't admit that she likes having this kind of dominion or power over someone.
I do want to know, like, what is Antonio bringing to the relationship?
The show doesn't tell us. The show doesn't tell us anything about what these people are bringing to any relationship or why they love their partners. I still, throughout these 8 episodes, don't understand why any of these people are in relationships with each other, except for like Ryan and James, because they've just been in it since high school. They don't know how to quit it.
He's crazy about her, and she loves that he's crazy about her. That's what it boils down to. I don't think it's never as if she felt threatened that she was going to lose him through this process.
Yeah, I think Ryan
they broke up a lot and got back together a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he did. Didn't he say he cheated on her at one point?
I don't know.
Antonio?
I know James did.
No, James.
Oh,
yeah,
James
did.
Yeah, James.
But Antonio and Roxanne, like he said that like they've broken up a lot, but she always comes back to him.
Yeah, and I love how he was outside after Alex like confronted him about being with boy. It's talking about how Alex wants Roxanne. He's like, yeah, so many guys are trying to take her away from me. Like you won't believe all the messages I get trying to take my woman away from me. Like, damn, like why are you in this, Antonio? I don't understand I don't understand what Antonio or Roxanne get out of this relationship from each other.
Convenience?
Yeah. Could be.
Sex?
Better than being.
We know they get that. We've seen that.
Yeah.
They both probably have the mindset of it's better to be in a relationship than to be single.
Maybe.
Which I think Antonio, he needs to be single in order to truly just find what he really wants in life and what he wants to do. Because if he's going to get this business just to follow after what Roxanne's doing, he's not going to be happy.
Yeah.
Like, that's not what he wants to do.
Those penis sleeves aren't going to make him happy.
I think if Antonio wasn't just like a jerk to Kat and wasn't so focused on Roxanne, I almost think for some reason they would have made a good couple. I don't know why. I just feel like they would have made an okay couple if they had tried.
I just feel like that would have been like they're both just so.
It seems like they're both passive. They're both like mild mannered.
But I don't know if that would work. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It would just be a lot of where do you want to go to dinner? I don't know. Where do you want to go? I don't know. Where do you
right.
No one's going to take the lead.
Yeah.
So, all right. Then we got Ryan and James. Ryan brings up Trey a lot, and James is like, "Can you not bring up Trey?" And I was like, fair. Like,
yeah, I said the same thing. I was like, "Why are you bringing up Trey on this date with James at the moment? Like, this is not cool."
Like, why are you? Trey kept matching. It was so funny.
Matching. We didn't even have to try. And then when we see Trey and Raya wearing like the matching red at the end, I'm like, I think this is just Trey's thing.
Yeah,
like Trey does
this. Trey
like, what are you wearing?
Trey likes to coordinate.
No reason.
Yeah, Ryan tells James that she doesn't think that he has ever thought that she'd leave for any reason. James is so interesting. Like, I really want to know if this is the way he talks in real life, or if this is just for the show. Like, he's very like soft spoken and quiet, and like it gives the vibe that he's like very introspective. But I wonder if that really is how he is all the time. I don't know. It's interesting. It's a relatively mature conversation they have. She doesn't want him to resent her for holding him back. I do feel like when we get to the scene with his mom later on, it gives a lot of insight into like some of their issues, which may have been, you know, he wants to go work for NASA, and like Ryan doesn't want to leave where her parents are. Just definitely like a logistical issue that you have to work through. And I mean, it's good that she says, like, I don't want you to resent me for, you know, holding you back from the things you want. But I also feel like if you, Ryan, really care about James, like maybe you'd also be okay with, you know, potentially moving somewhere. I mean, also like depending on where they live in North or South Carolina, it's not that far from like NASA's in Norfolk. It's not in Virginia. It's not that far. You could get there in like a day. It'd be a long drive, but you could do it.
That's like I was literally, when he said NASA, I was like, oh, he wants to move to Houston.
Everything's about Houston with Aysha.
NASA is in other places.
And there are aerospace places in Atlanta, which as we've learned is the other city that's near. Yeah. Anyway, so they're gonna have an argument that I did not follow what the argument was about exactly.
So what happened was they're sitting at the table. She like tapped her fingers on the table, and he got annoyed by it and said, like, stop.
Well, he said he got triggered by it. And I'm just like...
He said it reminded him of, he was like, stop, because it's pissing me off. It reminds me of what my mom does when she talks and she's angry.
But I couldn't tell, like, there must have been a different argument that happened before this scene for him. I mean, maybe not, but like, what we're led to believe that he hasn't opened up to Ryan about some of his past trauma. And yet my guess is he's opened up at least a little bit to where in this conversation, she says like, well, you've told me about your triggers, but you don't think about how it affects me. Like, I don't know. It's interesting. It also sounds like he might've broken a glass in it, because he says, I don't appreciate you like putting your hands near my face. And she says like, I don't appreciate you breaking a glass in my vicinity. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he talks about how, you know, I can't use my emotional trauma as a reason for my PTSD. I'm like, wow, that's a lot of words there, bud. I didn't know you were dealing with so much stuff. But I mean, this whole fight got me like worried for them, like worried for James more than anything else. I'm just like, you might want to do some other work on yourself before you come on like the Ultimatum and a stupid reality dating show, because there's a lot of heavy stuff that he's going to get into. This was a heavy fight. He seemed to really kind of get triggered really off of nothing, and it's just like I don't like the look of this at all.
Well, and that's like, at first I was wondering, like, did he get, because there were scenes that we saw with him and Raya where Raya, as it seems like a habit, just sort of would like tap her nails on the table. I noticed it a couple times, mostly because I was like, man, I love to click my nails on the table too. As I was watching her do it, because she would kind of do that in the way of like, when you finish a sentence and you're like kind of like, okay, I'm gonna go. You can go, all right then, like I'm gonna go. Like that's how Raya would do it. And so it makes me wonder, like, was that the same kind of way that Ryan did it, or was it different because he didn't seem to be triggered when Raya did it? I don't know. Maybe he was.
Or he just didn't feel comfortable enough with Raya to discuss his triggers with her. And so he was just like internalized, like, okay, I'm gonna just let it go.
It seemed like it was the way she did it in a way that, because I forgot what they were talking about, but it's
how many grilled cheese she was gonna have. He said, do you want a second grilled cheese? And then she tapped her fingers and said no. And then he said, can you not do that? Like that. I watched it like 3 times because I was confused.
Yeah, it's very weird. And I just didn't like how it spiraled so out of control, where they're like kind of not screaming at each other, because it seems like they were pleasant enough to not scream in any apartment where people could hear. It's just like, yeah, I can't deal with your emotional trauma. Like this was like you know, whisper fighting. But yeah, it really kind of spiraled. The
way the conversation went, I mean, they definitely fast forward through it. I can't remember when it started, but I'm guessing dinner time because they were eating grilled cheese. And then it ended around 3 a.m. It seems like
Yes.
she was saying this argument is going nowhere. Like, we're just talking in circles. So it seemed like the kind of thing where I'm guessing they've had similar types of arguments to this in the past. Because it didn't feel like a, whoa, I've never seen this side of you
Yeah.
before kind of thing. But then we're going to see him open up, talks about some self-harm tendencies that he had in the past. He says it started when he was 9 and then it continued throughout his teenage and young adult years. So
Right.
it's
Like
still going on. When
now.
did this end? Like,
Right.
you're still a
Yeah.
young adult, so I don't know about that one. He pretty much says, like, he's always known that he wants to marry her, but he just felt like he wasn't ready to open up about that yet. He apologizes for not opening up earlier. She gets very emotional about, saying that she would have loved to be aware of some of these things and, be someone that he could lean on, etc. Shout out to Netflix for putting a message at the end about
Mm-hmm.
suicide prevention, etc. But yeah, I mean, it's a very deep conversation that we obviously don't know all the details about. Um, he lost his father when he was very young, and so he says that was a huge factor into it. And we also know that his mom was on the road a lot. I don't know if that means that he was living with someone else for large portions of his life, other relatives or something, or if he was also on the road for a while. That's a little unclear, but definitely feels like his feelings about his upbringing and his sort of self-worth have factored into his relationship with Ryan
Yeah, I
greatly.
think Raya even mentioned to Ryan how like it seems like James is affected by him and Ryan's different upbringing. So I mean, think maybe Ryan seems like maybe could have been a more privileged background, and James probably a bit less so, right? Like, I think that's part of his insecurity in wanting to provide for her, feeling like he's not measuring up, he's not enough, he's got to have this great, he mentions he has to have this great job, he has to have a job where Ryan can brag to her friends about his great job. So like
Mm-hmm.
I think that's definitely part of his like his insecurity about whether or not he can be a quote unquote provider for Ryan or not. Make her more accustomed to what she's used to from her more, I guess, privileged life.
And
And I think this is I think it is a breakthrough type of conversation for them, like something that allows him to let a wall down, because clearly there was this wall up that he felt like he couldn't be completely vulnerable with Ryan for whatever reason. So I think now that him sharing this, them crying together, it could be a step in the right direction. Definitely don't think a proposal needs to happen right now, but a step in a direction to get their relationship on the right track, so ultimately they could get engaged, but they're on the timeline of the show.
yeah, another case where some independent or couples therapy would also probably help a lot of this, especially if Ryan has not had any experiences like this, to learn some ways that she can help support him as well. Um, it's interesting. So we have a scene where they meet with his mom, and this is where we find out a lot about his feelings about the type of job that he feels he needs to have. He's going to mention that maybe he didn't even really ever want to work for somewhere like NASA, but he felt like he needed to, both based on his mom's expectations and also the expectations that he sort of wants to fulfill to prove himself to Ryan, kind of. But what's interesting about that is that Ryan's saying, like, yeah, but I don't want to move. I don't want to go to these places. I'd rather you just work somewhere near me, and my family, which is a little bit like, which is it? Does he actually not want to work for NASA? Or does he, like, is he just trying to convince himself of that now because he doesn't want to lose Ryan? Like,
It weirdly feels like he's settling in this moment. He's like,
yeah.
yeah, I thought I wanted to work these places, but you know what? Never mind. I didn't want to work there. I was being silly. I'll stay here with Ryan. And like, you could look at his mom's face. It's like she's thinking the same thing. She's like, is she making you do this? Pretty much. Like, are you doing this for her? So that was an interesting kind of James' mom was interesting. Was an interesting character in and of herself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it, I think so much of this is just like they're so young. Like, I don't know that James knows which one of these that he wants. Like, I don't know, like, he hasn't had that opportunity to be able to try out different jobs or things. And you don't need to. You could pick the relationship first, but also, like, Ryan, you're pretty young. Maybe try moving with him to wherever, his job is for a little while, and then, come back home and stuff. Like, this is when your 20s. That's when you get to experience a lot of these things. That's when you get to try different things out. You both have that opportunity, and I don't know. It's it definitely could lead to having some of those resentments later on in either direction. And then they're going to talk about, okay, so we haven't lived together, so what would be the next steps? He would want to move in together, and she is worried that moving in together would put off the wedding. To which I would say, this is why when you get engaged, pick a date. Like, just pick that date right then, and you can't put it off necessarily. Like, I don't know. I mean, the moving in together before you get married, like, that's a 50-50 thing. There's a lot of pros and cons to both.
Yeah, it's so different for every couple. But then with like, if we consider the fact that they've been together for 7 years, and if she probably has tons of friends who've gotten married already at their age. And so she's probably thinking, okay, we've already waited this long, even though, we're saying like that, they're still young. She's thinking it's been 7 years, we move in together. There's nothing going to be like, okay, we need to take this next step. So I understand why she's saying this right now. But I think they have other things to worry about than if they should move in together or not.
It's just like, I keep saying this, I think it's less the age. It's just they feel young, like, there are people who are their age who don't feel as young, but with them, they feel young, and they feel a little bit like they need a lot more self-discovery before they make some of these decisions.
I can see that. Yeah, and like Aysha said, I think James has stuff to work on before they worry about the marriage of it all.
Yeah. And then our last younger couple, Raya and Trey. This is a little bit of an interesting sort of different spin. So we kind of talked about it already, but like, Raya doesn't know how to feel about this part of the trial marriage, knowing that he's had feelings for Ryan. He kind of wants to move past it. He's like, look, I mean, I was honest to you, but like, I came here wanting to marry you. I still feel that way. And she's just like, yeah, this is going to take me a little bit to get past. Jason, do you feel like this is the truth from her? Or do you feel like the reason she can't get past this is because she's trying to figure out if she's actually still interested in Trey or not?
Oh, that second part. I think throughout this episode, or throughout this drop, she's almost trying to find ways to not be with Trey. She's like, well, listen, I want to live in the city. You don't, you have feelings for someone else. So, maybe this doesn't work. Maybe we're just not compatible. I think she's in several times she's trying to give herself an out.
Yeah, it's weird. So this goes back to what you asked earlier, Mary, about him saying it, or maybe you asked Jason about, should he have said it? Like, should he have said that he that he developed feelings for her? And I think that's one thing he didn't take into consideration, is how she would receive that, and how that was going to affect Raya. Like, he just like, okay, I'm just being open. But I'm like, Trey, once you got the vibe that she was not reciprocating that, then it's null and void, because this is going nowhere beyond this point. So it's like, I'm glad he was honest, but I think it should have been more in like a private setting, rather than I am proclaiming my love in front of everybody for somebody who is not interested in me. And now she's like, and that was a shock for her, rather than if it was like they got back together. He's like, okay, just want you to know, like, I did start to like her a little bit, but develop feelings that found so much stronger than what probably really happened.
Yeah, he made it into a choice of like when we saw on the Queer season of like, this is like a Mal, Yoli, Xander type of thing, but it's really not. It's just like, he caught feelings. The feelings are not reciprocated, my guy. So he kind of dug himself a hole that he's kind of stuck in now. That Raya keeps reminding him that he's stuck in the hole. Like, she keeps like throwing dirt on him while he's in the hole. So I think it's built up more than what it really is in his mind, and he's really done himself a disservice by constantly being like, yeah, well, I caught feelings for her, but I still like you too. He's not helping himself at all.
And that's just another one where like Ryan and Trey don't need to be married. Like
they're different spots. They're different places in life. Like
right. Like at least James and Ryan are young together. You know, they're both in that same spot. Whereas, and not that Trey's not young. I mean, he's 28. That's, you know, but like he says that he cannot understand at all why she might want to spend a year in the city. It's not even like she wants to live in the city forever. She wants to spend 1 year because she's 24.
Now they're navigating how to do this 1 year because like, this is just she put that in her mind.
Yeah, like Trey, I don't want to live in the city, but I'm 28 and I'm like Trey. I have no desire to live in the city. But if I found someone that I really loved and they wanted to live in the city for a year, I'd be like, you know what? Okay, we'll do that. We'll do that for a year, and then we're gonna move out. Like that's the compromise.
But it seems like she wants to move to Atlanta, and
the city, the one that we all collectively know as the city.
Yeah,
I'm glad they finally said Atlanta.
5 scenes saying just the city. I'm like, what city? What?
Yeah. And it seems like they live in what, North or South Carolina?
North or South Carolina, one or the other.
So is he really in a position where he can just up and move to Atlanta, or was this a way for her to get distance?
I mean, he says like that he doesn't want to, quit his job for that and all that, and I get that. And I do feel like if she's saying I just want to, for fun, live in the city for a year, and he doesn't want to quit his job to do that, I get that. That's perfectly understandable. Then you just don't need to get married yet. Wait a year.
And I also think it's Raya wants to, it seems like almost sow her wild oats. She's like, I want to be in the city where I'm close to the bars and the nightclubs and all that stuff. He wants
to build a sex room,
Yeah. And Trey's like, I want to like get a nice house and live in the suburbs, and I want to drive 15 minutes to work, and I want to drive home and we watch Netflix on the couch. Like, and that's what I want to do. They seem like in such different places in their lives.
How much do you think Netflix paid her to do advertising for another one of their TV shows?
If there was nothing else I was getting put into the final edit, it was that.
So, yeah, they're going to meet with her sister, who I like. That was a nice conversation. Again, I like most of these people. I got kind of nothing out of Kat's friends, but that's whatever. And this entire conversation just starts talking about how Raya isn't sexually attracted to Trey. Like, just can't get there. Or, I mean, I don't know if it's with Trey or just in general, but this, yeah. So anyway,
the sister took it there. She definitely she took it to a place none of them were expecting. They're like, yeah, we have this problem. He's like, oh, then she can't. Like, I was like, oh, I didn't know we were coming here.
I was like, I literally looked around just at Pepper and Cinnamon, and I was like, did they just say that? Like, yeah, we went all the way there. I guess we went there with Antonio and Roxanne. We had to go there in this way with them, apparently.
I'm like, y'all are in a public place. There's a family sitting right over there.
You're on camera. You're on camera for a television show. It's going to be shown worldwide. Forget being in a public place.
Right.
It's at a restaurant. She's like, well, yeah, maybe I need to try this. Maybe I need to try that. And her sister's like, oh, you're into some kinky stuff. Okay. It's like, can we go? Like, I love that Trey left. He was like, I'm gonna make a phone call.
I have a
while
phone
y'all
call.
talk about this.
It's like, mommy, what does can't get wet mean? Don't listen to those people over there. Don't listen to them over there.
There were so many other ways they could have said this.
Yeah, there were so many, but it was anyway. And then her sister's like, maybe you just need to forgive him first. Maybe that's the scenario. And my guess is Rye's like, I don't know if that's really the hurdle, but then they're going to literally have 2 more conversations that are the exact same thing about whether or not they're going to deal with the distance.
She doesn't want to do long distance. A year is too long to be in 2 different places.
She looks at it as he's trying to speed her through her life, and he looks like he's just trying to help her skip steps. Because he had his time to discover those things, and now he wants her to skip past that part.
He just seems like he feels like he has it all together. I just wonder how together he really has it, or if he just thinks he has it together.
What business does he own?
Yeah, like I'm just trying to help you throughout my knowledge and my level of my 28 years of experience. I'm just trying to help you be a grown up, like, sir.
What I've learned from this show is that apparently you need to own your own business and be doing business things all the time.
Talk
Or you
business
need to work at
24/7.
NASA, and
Business, business,
every
business.
other option of a job is just like the lowest scum. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Where is the bar for these people? All right. Anyway, so that was the episode drop. We get a little bit of the lead into Trey and Raya's potential proposal. Any predictions for where you think that's going to go?
That lead up was a whole bunch of nothing. I don't even know why they did that.
Literally, I was like, "Are you literally turning it off after he said I love you?" What?
No cliffhanger, no nothing.
I know.
Like,
At least show one side of it.
what is happening? So we're predictions time?
Yeah, let's predict. So let's start with them.
So Trey's definitely going to ask to get married.
I think
she's
she'll
going to say yes
no.
or no?
I think she's no.
Yeah, I think she's going to say no.
She'll say no.
She doesn't want to be long distance for a year. That's what it is.
That's what it is. And definitely not any of those other things.
Making.
It's definitely not because I'm not satisfied in the bedroom.
Oh my god.
She's like, what can I do to get out of this? Oh, I can move to Atlanta.
Oh my gosh. All right. What about James and Ryan?
I think they'll get engaged.
I think they'll get engaged.
Do you think they'll be married by reunion time?
I think they'll have 2 kids by reunion.
By the reunion. It's possible that they'll be married. No,
Well,
I could see her wanting like a huge.
She said she wanted a year. She said she wanted to be married within the year.
So yeah, probably not.
But I also feel like I could see them getting engaged, and then we hear them at the reunion, and they're like, yeah, we talked about it, and we decided we did want that big wedding, so he is working long distance right now at NASA or SpaceX.
Yeah, I think they're going to be engaged, and they're going to go through with the wedding, whatever that is.
Antonio and Roxanne.
Ooh.
I think he's
proposing.
Yeah,
but
he's definitely going to propose. I'm going to throw a curveball and say that she says yes.
Oh, and that do you think they'd still be together by the reunion?
No, I think they'll be broken up by reunion.
Yeah, I'm with Jason on that one.
On the whole thing.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say no.
You're gonna say that she's gonna say no. I think she'll say yes, but I think they'll be broken up. But I also think that I would not put it past them to on Instagram, 6 months from now, be like, and then we got back together. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, Ryan, Trey. No, we already did them.
We did
Sorry.
them.
Kat and Alex. That's the last one.
They'll probably get engaged.
Yeah, they're definitely getting engaged. I would be surprised they are married by the time the reunion came through.
I don't think they'll be married, but I think they'll be engaged. Wow, so we're just getting a lot.
What about Brian and Lisa? Do you think
is Lisa really pregnant? That's my first question.
I also that was another thing that I was thinking. Not is she really pregnant, but the fact that she announced it the day that she took her pregnancy test.
Did she already know?
Well, no, I was thinking just that if she took a pregnancy test that morning, the first trimester is the most
but I think it was more about yes. No, I agree with that, but I think probably she thought I don't want to go through with this show while knowing that I'm pregnant. And I don't want him to go through with this show knowing that I'm pregnant either.
Yeah. But I'm just saying what we also that could be a possibility at the reunion.
Yes. That is possible. I do feel like man, that is tricky. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to be together or not. That one's really tricky. I mean, supposedly the baby, regardless, wasn't going to change his opinion on marriage. But you also said that you had a hard time finding them online together,
yes.
Right?
Well, I found them online, just I haven't seen pictures of them together. And it could be just because of the show.
That's true. So, I overall very little intrigue in terms of what's going to happen. I'm looking forward to the reunion just because I love to get the unfiltered hot mess. So we'll see. Do you think they're going to do a live show?
No,
absolutely not.
That's what I was going to say. It's definitely going to be filtered because it'll probably been taped 8 months ago.
Yeah, that'll be a good question.
No, they're not going to put that on themselves again.
Yeah.
I think they could have done. I don't know what Netflix was thinking. They could have done it live and then shown it later. I don't. So dumb.
I don't know.
Because
Just
then you
didn't
could
work.
edit out the terrible parts. But whatever.
Yeah.
Oh well. Oh well. Well, all right. Well, that was the end of this drop. Jason, thank you so much for joining us. Are you excited for the end? Are you just really ready for Love is Blind season 5? Oh my gosh, how many Love is Blind seasons have there been?
Well, we still have to get after the
Oh, you're
altar out
right.
the way.
Yeah. After the altar, when we've already forgotten about season 4, they're going to come back and throw it in our face. Like, remember these people? I'm like, no, I really don't. And then they're going to put season 5 shortly after that. So yeah, I'm ready for the Love is Blind. Goodness. Can you, like, I honestly, as you said that, I was thinking about, like, who was on Love is Blind season 4? And I can't remember a single person.
Think the couple.
I'm over here struggling
Oh
too.
my
I can't
gosh.
remember.
I follow them. Oh my gosh.
Oh, pop quiz time.
I know. Okay.
Oh, wait.
Oh,
There was
Zach and Bliss.
Okay.
Yes.
It's coming back
Hold
to
on.
me.
Kwame.
Wait, the Alexa and somebody?
No, that was season
No.
3.
Oh, dang it.
Tiffany and Brett.
Tiffany and Brett.
You got Micah.
Irina, no, Micah and Paul.
Micah,
Paul.
wait, did they end up together? I don't remember.
No, he
No,
said
they're
he
far
wanted
from
to have
together.
his babies. He said no to that.
Yeah, no, he's dating someone. He's dating someone right now.
Irina was a troublemaker.
Marshall.
Oh yeah, Marshall and Jackie. Yeah, that was a whole kerfuffle.
And then
that was a whole
Jackie's
thing.
guy. Who is that?
Josh.
The other one.
Josh.
Yes.
I think it was Josh.
Okay,
Yeah, wow.
y'all did a lot better. I remembered one person. It was from the wrong season.
You said one name, it all came back to me. I was
No,
like, okay,
I
it's all
most definitely pulled up my notes. Like,
Okay.
I didn't
Aysha over here
remember
lying to
I'm
us.
like,
It's like, come on, guys, you don't remember this. You don't remember,
remember
Tiffany
this?
and
you know,
Brett?
Zach and Bliss.
Yeah,
They did not leave a lasting impression, apparently.
I did remember Irina, and I could not remember Irina's friend. So I guess Micah. Yeah. Oh well. Anyway, well, thank you everyone for listening with us. We'll be back for the finale drop, the final drop of episodes 9 and 10 later this week, and that'll be the decisions and then the reunion, and then like we mentioned, we'll be back not too long from now, in less than a month, for the Love is Blind 4 or 5 4 after the altar.
No, not less than a month. It comes out Friday.
Oh no, never mind.
Why?
I was thinking it was September. We'll be back very,
are you
very
lying?
soon.
I'm
Are you
not
lying?
lying.
No,
No,
wait, because Love is Blind season 5 is the one that comes out in a month.
yeah,
right?
Love is Blind
Okay.
season 5 comes out September 22nd.
Basically, you can't miss us. We'll just be here. We'll be here forever. We'll be here
can't
for a
miss
long
us.
time.
But that
And,
season 4 after the altar comes out Friday, Asia? Are you
Yeah.
serious?
Yes.
It
Wow.
is. Well, this is an outdated article. It says coming soon, but the last I saw was September 2nd. Is that Friday? No, September 1st.
Wait.
Yeah,
Friday is September? What happened to
Yeah.
August?
Yes.
No, it's gone. August is gone.
Yes, Friday,
So-
September
so-
1st, it drops.
Wow.
Yeah. In order to make sure that you don't miss any of that coverage, subscribe over on the Love at First Sight feed at robisawebsite.com. Wherever you get podcasts, subscribe. Please send us a rating and review if you enjoyed our coverage. And if you haven't listened to Aysha and Jason over on Married at First Sight, definitely check that out too. Pretty much nothing but glowing reviews about your coverage on that show. Even if you don't watch the show, they cover it in a way where you don't need to. It's fine.
There you
Just
go.
just listen to the drama. All right. Anything else, Jason, that you have coming up that you want to talk about?
I'm covering a couple shows over on Post-Show Recaps. You can check out
When
Linus.
are you not?
When am I not? I'm always on Post-Show Recaps. You can check out Special Ops Linus with me and Sasha Joseph. You can also check out Winning Time with me and Grace Leader. And as Mary said, check out our Married at First Sight coverage, our podcast Perfect Match. And whenever Married at First Sight decides to come back, Aysha, I keep letting you do these trial podcasts with Mary that take about 3 weeks. But never forget where your real home is, Aysha. Never forget where your real home is. But yeah, whenever that show comes back, you can check us out there as well.
Cool. Aysha, what else do you have going on?
Yeah, so y'all can follow me on all social media at Aysha like Asia, AYSHA like ASIA, and I will tweet about what I am up to. Lately, it's just Big Brother 25, so I will be on the Stockwatch Roundtable this week to talk some Big Brother 25. So very excited about that, and then you can just catch me throughout the season, hopping in on a live feed update or episode recap. But outside of that, just the ultimatum and Love is Blind, and just trying to relax.
Nice. And everyone can follow me over at Frail Mary for anything that I might be doing. Right now, it's mostly Big Brother coverage, and we're about to enter Ultra Marathon season again in the fall. So if you're interested in that, feel free to check out my YouTube channel at Frail Mary also for that coverage.
What about your TikTok?
Oh,
your
right.
running TikTok.
Yeah. My running TikTok at Trail Mary. So you can't miss me over there. Yeah, it's still just like doing different things, right? Who knows what the ultimatum / ultra marathon overlap is? Maybe it's out there.
What businesses you're going to get into.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, everyone. Until next time.